In the next edition of It's About Money, my guest is Trisha Delano. She is the author of the children's book, No Dog in My Yard. Trisha will share more about the process that goes behind writing and marketing a book, as well as sharing the underlying lessons present in her book. Join us for the next edition of It's About Money. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nocon and thank you for joining us. My guest is Trisha Delano. She is the author of the children's book, No Dog in My Yard. Trisha is here to share more about the process that goes behind writing and marketing a book, as well as sharing the underlying message and lessons present in her wonderful book, No Dog in My Yard. So let me just share that right here. So Trisha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Nanette. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us about how you came up with the idea for this story.
Well, it's kind of interesting. The idea came a few months after we got our golden doodle named Millie. To be honest with you, she turned our lives upside down with all of her puppy antics. And friends and family thought the Millie stories were hysterical. At the time, we really didn't. And a few had said, oh my gosh, you guys should write a book. And it got the wheels turning, just a little bit. And one day when I was kind of frustrated with some of her antics and she'd been interrupting meetings, I looked at her and I said, you know what? I think we've got some really good material here. Let's do this. But what's interesting is I took a step back and put a hold on the book about Millie and her antics. And basically, thought that why don't I write a first book about my son Jonathan and his pleading and begging and determination to get a dog over 10 years, and really how he convinced us that he's ready, but it was with plotting and planning and enlisting the help of 9 neighborhood dogs. So the first book is really about no dog in my yard, how am I going to get one? And then the second book will be a dog in my yard.
Ah, cool. I love it that there's a second part, a sequel. That's great.
Yeah.
So what does your writing process look like? How did it come about?
It's a great question. I mean, as far as the writing process, it really isn't different, I don't think, than any other author or writer, as it starts with pre-writing and brainstorming, coming up with the first draft and sometimes second and third. It's a lot of revising, it's, proofreading, it's editing. So it's all of those things. And when I was thinking about a children's book and learning more about, what are some of those key components, to a book, it was more so around, plot development and creating conflict, or what's a problem or opportunity that this child in the book needs to solve. What are those temporary setbacks for the child? How do they overcome? And it was also around, my process was thinking about creating memorable characters. So, both the protagonist as well as those secondary characters are really, really important, and they need to be memorable and interesting and fun for the kids. And then when you think about the ending, my process included, it was really thinking about a roller coaster. So how do you take the children as well as the parents kind of on this little bit of a roller coaster ride as Jonathan in the book is trying to come up with a solution and ways to get a dog. And he failed at some and was finally, successful. But it's really, how do we take kids on that roller coaster ride and get them to that happy ending? So I don't think I'm doing anything out of the ordinary, following kind of those basic steps, but I really keep those 3 things in mind. The plot development, memorable characters, and then really the ending.
That's great. And then what about in terms of finding a publisher for your book? Did you have to look for one, or did the publisher find you? Actually, even before that, pardon me, your illustrator for your book, which is a wonderful illustrator. It seems like you kind of worked well together because the illustration is fantastic.
Yeah, the illustrator, his name is Jim Pearson. And I was introduced to Jim through a friend of mine. His name is Mike Krumhoffner, and we went to high school together. After school, he went to college and worked at Pixar. I reached out to Mike and I said, "Hey, Mike, I've got this project." Mike's a phenomenal artist. I said, "Would you have time? Are you interested?" And unfortunately, with time, he just couldn't do it. But he said, "I've got a friend from Pixar who worked on Toy Story 2, Finding Nemo, The Ant Bully. He was art director for the Cartoon Network." He says, "Trish, I think you guys will be a really, really great match." And he was right. Personality, style wise, we got along beautifully. And he's just so, so talented. And he did a beautiful, beautiful job. So
That's great. So connection from high school. Isn't that wonderful?
yeah, just, through a friend. It was, it's who you know, I guess. So yeah, it worked out great.
And then what about the publisher? How did you end up finding the publisher for your book?
Well, what's interesting is I did send out quite a number of query letters. So, basically trying to, sell my story to agents. And what I found too is certainly there were lots of rejections there, but I was offered 2 publishing contracts directly through 2 publishing houses. And to make a very long story short, I did enlist the help of a literary lawyer out of New York City. And I asked her, I said, "Please look these over. As I'm reading them, there's a few things I'm questioning. Like I saw, for example, both wanted rights to the book for 70 years. I would have little to no say in the illustrations. And this was before I found Jim. They were asking for rights to a second book because I told them this would be a planned series. So I was really feeling the stress and uncomfortable, just feeling locked in. And after a lot of thought, contemplation, I made the decision, knowing that I had found Jim, to go it alone. So I self-published. So I turned down both contracts and self-published.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then how do you go about marketing your book to the public then?
Yeah, so that's been an incredible learning. And that's kind of really my everyday life now. We kind of put the pen down and it's really about the marketing strategy. And, the first thing, was just understanding who's my target audience. You think children, but, more so parents, because they'll be buying, as well as reading the books to the children. It's teachers, schools, libraries, librarians, so the target audience, who are they and where are they? And part of the marketing strategy, first and foremost, is having a website. Excuse me. I had the site up and running even before the book launched, including a book trailer that was on the website, on YouTube. And it's really using social. Social is a key component for marketing because it's around engagement. People aren't buying from Facebook or Instagram, but it's around engaging them, having folks, interested. What do you have to offer? What will they gain from you, your product? So, having the website and the book trailer, I set up on social, Facebook pages, business pages, I should say, on Facebook as well as Instagram. And again, there is the opportunity to start to share my book with different groups, because Facebook groups are really important for marketing. You are connecting with like-minded individuals, whether it's groups on children's books or first-time authors or seasoned authors or authors and illustrators. You name it, there's a group out there for it. And I joined everyone that I could just to learn and to network, which was fantastic. And I used those platforms then to do a book launch event, which is a great way to market the book before it actually goes live. And that's where I would give everybody that was on the launch team a free ebook so they could read the book. And my ask was just to leave an honest review, because reviews are just so critical when it comes to marketing your book. Folks want to understand what are other people saying about your book. You can run ads on social, Facebook, Instagram, you run ads for your book. But two, it's a lot of beating the pavement. It's, going to schools and libraries to do book readings. It's finding, even local events or even conferences to attend, finding professional book reviews, applying for book awards. The list goes on and on. So what's critical is to have a plan, to have a marketing plan. What's your strategy based on your audience?
That's great. That's wonderful. Sounds like a lot of energy and a lot of friends out there. Hopefully the veterinarians are there to help you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so tell me, what's the importance? You got some really great lessons, I think, in this book. What would you say are the some of the important lessons that you hope the children can take away from this book?
You know what's interesting, Nanette? We had the opportunity to do a book reading a couple weeks ago, and there were probably about 20 children there. And we asked the kids that question, what's the moral of the story? What did you take away? And I know what my hope is. And the kids were wonderful, and I had them list, everything out. And what they shared back with me, and I agree with, is, working hard for the things that you want, learning to be responsible and taking that initiative. And that with persistence and determination, what your goal is, what you're trying to accomplish just might pay off. And it's interesting, and I think one of the reasons why I'm here today too is it does touch on how to save money. For Jonathan, he wanted a dog, and so he actually he took a mason jar and he created the Millie jar, where he would put part of his weekly allowance into the Millie jar to save for, whether it was a collar or a toy or treats. But that was his way of really participating. But those were just some of the key lessons or morals that the kids took away.
I think it's great, and truly one of the reasons why I invited you to the show is because of that. There's a lot of lessons that you've got to work towards, building something that you like, doing a little job for and saving and investing for it, and then saving and then being able to spend the money accumulated towards something that they really like.
Yeah.
So thank you for that wonderful story for lesson for the children. So what do you think is the importance of teaching children about responsibility, like saving money early? So what would you say, for Jonathan, what an early lesson to learn that, and he sees the satisfaction of being able to have his Millie and then also the little things that he wants to buy from Millie, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yes, you know us, Nanette, and it's been lessons that he did learn early on. They're of great value, because what we want to be able to do is ensure that he's planning for those uncertainties, that he's learning what they are. And it could be as simple as, well, you want something, you don't have enough money for it. So I really believe at any stage to start teaching, your children about not only saving, but also budgeting. And because, we have to spend money. It's just, how do we do that wisely? And that's why for Jonathan, again, he learned early on, not just about the $1 a week that went in the Millie jar, but he had $1 that he graduated from a piggy bank to his wallet. So we gave him that $1 to put in his wallet, and then $1 in the bank to save. So he was saving for Millie. We tell him, you're saving for college. Of course, we're helping him there. But then too, that money in your wallet is to spend and to do something fun with it. And that also taught him too, he didn't need to, every time we went to the store, he'd say, oh, can I get a candy bar? And not that we always did that, but he started to learn, I've got money, I can buy my own. So again, just really important lessons just around those fundamentals, as parents, just guiding your child to help them make the right decisions. And again, it's about saving and then spending wisely.
That's great, because many people, adults, say that their parents never talk to them about money at all. And that's a huge disadvantage as adults, because if it's never discussed as in the household, it becomes very foreign in their adulthood. So thank you for that and for planting the seed for young people. So
no, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I wish you the very best in this book, and certainly I appreciate being in the business of money. I appreciate having a book that talks about money for the young people. So and like you said, it's really for the adults to help them guide the children as well, to help them build money for the things that they want. So thank you for that.
No, and thank you for having me.
I wish you the very best. And thank you, Tricia Delano, author of the children's book, No Dog in My Yard. And thank you, our listeners and our viewers, for watching our show today. It's about money. And I'm Nanette Nocon. And until next time.